in here yet. He's taking his good sweet time, but yeah, one of those days. Yeah, he'll be along eventually. Boy, I'm fat. Yeah, no Cave Run Storytelling Festival this year. That's a shame. Wait till he gets in here. See if he's coming in. I don't know if they're paying attention to it or not. Hopefully the mic's picking this up. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Okay, you ready to start? You got your snot and platin?
Okay.
Okay. Alright, hi, happy campers. I'm Spike. That is Chris. And his shocked face, yes.
You did it again.
I've just been talking dirty about you for the past 10 minutes. So. Anyway.
Really? Wow.
Anyway, Spike and Chris. Spike, Chris, show. Alright, now. Let's go ahead and get it out of the way. Chadwick Boseman passed away this past week at the age of 43 from colon cancer.
Yeah, he was diagnosed in 2016. He did numerous of movies without telling anybody about it, and I don't know how he did it, but yeah.
Anyway, started Black Panther and a whole bunch of others. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, he's portrayed two very
Thurgood Marshall and who was the other one?
He's been in
21
Blocks. Get On Up by playing James Brown.
James Brown, that's right.
42, Jackie Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in the last few movies he's been in was D5 Bloods and Civil War. Of course, you know, Endgame and all those films.
So sad to see you lose. Sad to lose you, but remember, folks, get your pooper checked. So anyway.
Get your
pooper checked. We also lost Joe Ruby this past week. I don't know if you spotted that on Twitter. He's the co-creator of Scooby-Doo. Back in the early 60s, Hanna-Barbera was making the transition from MGM animation to television animation. They started their own studio. Two of the first guys they hired were Ken Spears and Joe Ruby. And those two guys, once Hanna-Barbera had created Yogi Bear and Snagglepuss and all the OG Hanna-Barbera stuff, it was Joe Ruby and Ken Spears who started creating things like in the late 60s, so Scooby-Doo was their baby. And then they went on to create things. I believe they created Hong Kong Phooey and Speed Buggy and a bunch of other 70s stuff. They wound up starting their own animation studio out of it, as a matter of fact, Ruby Spears. So they tended to kick copious amounts of butt in the 80s as Ruby Spears Animation before, I believe, Time Warner bought them and rolled them back into Hanna-Barbera, which they then rolled into Warner Brothers Animation. Yeah. Which is a story in and of itself. But anyway, Joe Ruby passed away. Chadwick Boseman passed away from colon cancer. Joe Ruby passed away from being 87 years old. So, long run. But anyway.
Some good ones.
Yeah.
2020.
Curse you, 2020. Anyway, so what you got, Chris? Because I'm too lazy to look.
You all right there?
I am. Way too lazy to look. What you got? Come on.
Well, let's see. First off, Fox is developing a cartoon based off the X-Files series, which basically follows a bunch of new characters in New Mexico.
Oh boy, the Nerf Gunmen, the Nerf Gunmen, I'm guessing, or the Super Soaker Squad.
The Super Soaker Squad.
The lone Super Squad, lone Super Soaker. We'll call him that.
The lone.
Now, if Star Trek's going to do it, then so can X-Files. And believe me,
Sure.
Fox has much lower standards than.
They do, actually.
Which the other thing too is that I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Fox Television Studios library stayed with Fox Broadcasting. It was the Fox films that went to Disney, I believe. I'm not sure. Somebody will correct me if they're paying attention.
Well, not really
If
for
they're paying
sure.
attention or not. Anyway,
Not really for sure.
not for sure. But X-Files should be staying in the Fox outfit. But anyway.
Yeah, nobody really cares anymore. It used to be good.
As opposed to the CW doing a live action remake of Powerpuff Girls. As 20-somethings who have given up on pretty much everything.
Yeah, I don't know why they care.
There is so much do not want there. God. Yeah.
That's just not right. But yeah. So
We're just blowing right through the stuff.
yeah, I
today.
know, right?
It's like a bad burrito.
I didn't even have the
Places to be, people to do. Yeah.
tacos.
Oh yeah. Have you noticed Randy Savage is suddenly trending again? Yeah. All of a sudden, Randy Savage is sexy again. He's been dead for several years.
How is it? How is he?
Oh, all of a sudden, Slim Jim decided that people stopped buying so many Slim Jims because they're, bad for you. So they had to appeal to their core demographic, which are all Randy Savage fans. So they brought back the Savage size Slim Jim. Not a joke. You can't see it on this thing, but it is roughly 2 feet long and about an inch thick. So it's there's so many ways to go with that, and I'm not going there. I will not. Anyhow, what were you going to say? What were we going to say?
In other news,
Yeah.
Disney has decided to do a remake live action on their popular ride, The Haunted Mansion.
Didn't Eddie Murphy already do that?
Yeah, that's why I said remake.
Didn't the one Eddie Murphy do suck all of the ass?
Yes.
So
but,
why are they redoing it?
Well, here's the thing. They're wanting to make it more scarier.
I did laugh at Pirates of the Caribbean, but so I'll give it a benefit of the doubt.
Well,
they may
wait.
pull it off.
Wait, before you shouldn't have said that. The person who's writing it is a woman named Katie Diploid. I've never heard of her. But apparently she wrote the new Ghostbusters movie. Not the new.
Oh, the 2016, yeah.
Yeah. She was a writer on it.
Because she did so well with Ghost the first time, yeah.
Right.
Now,
But-
hold on.
What?
Before anybody flop sweats over this.
Oh,
Everybody's entitled to crap the bed at least once. Steven Spielberg did it with 1941. George Lucas did it with Howard the Duck. M. Night Shyamalan did it with everything except The Sixth Sense. So it's maybe she just had an off day with Ghostbusters 2016. Maybe she just crapped the bed that one time. Or maybe she's
it's a lot of crap.
yeah, maybe she's just diuretic and is just going to spew it all over Hollywood. Just spew.
Yeah. Ugh.
Believe me, there's plenty of crap being spewed all over Hollywood right now. Anyway.
But I know what can bring your spirits up. See what I did there? Spirits up, Ghostbusters. Goes into the next segue of the Pope. The Vatican. Guess what they did? Guess what the Pope is a big fan of?
Pope Mobiles.
No, he is a big fan of
Chris
Jake and Elwood. So now the what is it? Vatican has declared the Blues Brothers as a Catholic classic cult icon.
Yeah, I could see that. The scene with the nun alone guarantees they should be canonized, because there is not a single person who has ever attended a day of Catholic school in their lives who do not look back at that and just shiver. Flashbacks. Anyway. But yeah, I could see that.
I thought you might get a kick out of that one. Be like,
yeah, I could see that.
I don't even know what the Pope looks like now. He's been switched so many times.
To be honest, I'm not going to say never, but because there is a whole lot of gospel and soul and, of course, blues, which is what soul spun out of gospel. The blues spun out of soul. The soul and blues tended to coexist there for a while. But, so yeah, I could see the Catholic part was kind of front-loaded. They didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to it, except for you can't talk to a nun that way. But still. And, of course, the whole thing was actually to save the Catholic Children's Home. So there you go. Which is something that tends to get overlooked. So, yeah. Good one, Pope. All right, go.
Alright, so this is a biggie and a long one. So, New Mutants came out over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Getting a Rotten Tomatoes score of 24, audience score 52. So that's still not good, but yet then again...
When did you see that Rotten Tomatoes score? Was it... Because we are recording this, have a quick look. Is it the 23rd of August?
That Rotten
Sunday,
score was
August 23rd?
yesterday.
So that was August 22nd, Saturday, yes. August 22nd. The day after it premiered. It premiered back on Friday the 21st of August 2020.
Yes.
Now, usually you won't see that much of a spread between the critic score and the audience score, unless there's some kind of political point being made, in which case you may see a huge disparity between the two. Yeah. But 20 points is just at that range of, yeah, it probably sucks ass.
Well, apparently, to my sources here,
he's got sources.
I got sources.
He's got sources.
But apparently, New Mutants only brought, so far, 3 million. Tenet, that hasn't been shown here in the U.S. yet, I don't think, but has been shown overseas and has brought home 40 million.
Who's in Tenet?
Tenet is, I think, Denzel Washington's son, Pat Robinson, and knowing Christopher Nolan, pretty much everybody that has been in all of his movies.
Christopher Nolan, you're done. That's all I needed to know. Go ahead.
But and behind that, Unhinged. I'm sorry.
The road rage movie
with Russell Crowe brought home 4.0 million.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But anyway, New Mutants is one of those that it was supposed to come out years ago.
Now I've said it before. Snake bit. It's one of those things that is just that franchise has been that entire property was snake bit from the beginning. Yes. And you can just it's almost like you can pull into Hollywood as soon as you see the Hollywood sign, you smell something and you look off to the side. It's one of these snake bit properties that have been laying around in the sun, turning brown and kind of desiccating on the side of a road like an old cat turd. And then every once in a while it'll just rain and rain and rain, and suddenly it pops back and it's a full, fresh, fully formed, and because the sun baking it, a hot cat turd all over again, and it just repeats for about 25 years. What were you going to say?
It definitely should have went straight to video instead of theaters, but that's not the only problem.
At least they're releasing the movies in the theaters.
Yeah, well, that's not the only problem it has, okay? So apparently director James Boone, who's the director of New Mutants, is a little under fire because whitewashing. There's a character in the movie called Sunspot.
Oh no, they didn't make him white, did they?
Who is from Brazil, and apparently his words was, I have looked and at a lot of black people and came across a man named Henry, which is the actor that's playing Sunspot in the movie, and he says, I do not see color, but I just thought he would be the one to play, that should play this character. He said that well, out of all the colored people that was in the audition, he saw him, this Henry guy, as the, yeah. You see where I'm going with this, right? He says he doesn't see color, but yet it's like a line of colored people, but yet there's that one white dude. So, yeah, he's getting backlash on that. And he's getting backlash on that and something else by Bob McLeod, who is the creator of New Mutants. And he is pissed off because whitewashing of Sunspot, and after this movie has been in the shitter for like 3 or 4 years, and they spelled his name wrong.
I know exactly who you're talking about. He would be. I can't. We don't make our last name publicly known on this video, but believe me, I understand what it's like to get your name wrong. But anyway, the this New Mutants has been in development hell a lot longer than 3 or 4 years. This is like dating back to like, oh my god, no. New Mutants has been in development in one stage or another, early development, but they've been in one stage of development or another since the Roger Corman Fantastic 4 years, buddy. It's been in hell that long. Wow. Because it was an X-Men property.
Right.
Okay, now maybe it doesn't go quite back as far as Roger Corman's Fantastic Four, but as far back as the first Fantastic Four, they had already made the first X-Men movie and made a fortune off of it because, X-Men. And so anything mutant related belonged to Fox. Okay? Fox got all the X books. Those were the hot properties at the time. Marvel, of course, has wiped their ass repeatedly with mutantdom ever since, but still. So, not as much as Fox has, but it's been in developmental hell for a couple of decades. And it didn't start production until 4 or 5 years ago. Okay? Now, in the Obama administration, it started production. In the Trump administration, it continued production. Black Lives Matter, all these other movements and stuff have been going on. Comicsgate and all, it's been in development.
Yeah.
What in the name of Phineas F. Frog was this guy thinking to whitewash Sunspot, one of the few hardcore Black/Latino heroes in the Marvel canon? Because there ain't many Brazilians in Marvel canon that I can think of off the top of my head. Sunspot is one. DC has one Brazilian superhero, and that's Fire, who was with the old Justice League International and the Global Guardians, but I digress. You ought to know better, dude. Come on. I mean, as much as I talk about race lifting, which I consider a lazy way of throwing people a bone to keep them from harassing you about not having enough people with melatonin in your movie, but to actually race lift the other way and take an opportunity away from an actor with melatonin, you're insane, dude. Put the blow down. Set the hooker to the side, sober up for a couple of days, and then reconsider your casting decisions, okay? Go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, it's also the way he defended himself, which was
Oh, they
horrible.
always make it worse,
Horrible.
dude.
Like, I mean, literally, I
I
use
can't
the word.
hold on, I can't find any black people who are good enough to play this fantastic role of a supporting character in a
See, now I messed
X-Men
up.
movie.
I said black, but he actually used the
He's
word
actually-
brown.
Brown, yes, because again, black/Latino, which is what Brazilian tends to be a mix
Like
of the two.
my color.
Kind of like Caribbean, yeah. Kind of like a Caribbean kind of vibe,
But
yes.
yeah, I just
And Portuguese, because if you do not mention Portugal in that area, that region, the Portuguese will absolutely let you have it, because no, they are not Spanish.
I mean, the way he made it sound was like there was a bunch of them there, but yet the one white dude comes up and it's like,
There's my brown guy. Yeah.
It's-
Golly. Y'all,
That's-
y'all, a la y'all. I'm going to start a website. It's going to be called a la y'all, where I'm just going to call y'all out because y'all's insane. Stop it. Again, race lifting is pathetic enough to begin with, but to race lift in order to whitewash, that just, dude, come on, it's 2020. Yeah, I'm not really big on being all mealy mouthed and mushy with all this BLM Antifa crap that's going on. Leave the politics out of it. This is supposed to be geeky stuff, but oh my god, even I'm like, dude, be whiter, you oxidol sucking freak. Golly. Anyway, go ahead. What were you saying?
I mean, I was already like, I don't know if I want to go see this movie, but now after hearing all this, I'm just like, yeah, I'll probably skip this.
Yeah, no.
I'll probably skip this. If it comes on TV, I might watch it.
You
but it's
understand?
not so,
Do you have any idea how many Fox Marvel movies I've watched? Take a guess. Take a wild ass guess. How many Marvel Fox movies have I seen?
I'm going to guess
Let's see if we can
around
get it.
20. Or almost 20. Maybe in the teens. Really?
I saw the first X-Men about 10 years after it was released, and I actually managed to get through most of that. I saw the first Fantastic Four and swore never again, and I almost sat through X3, but I think that was the one where they killed Cyclops off about 5 minutes into the movie, and I just turned it off. So I think that was on BBC America or something. I was like, this is crap, and I just changed the channel. But anyway.
That's
So really, yeah, I guess a rounding error would give you 2 of the Fox movies I've seen when it comes to Marvel. But
wow. I mean, not bad. I understand because not all of them are.
I have seen Spider-Man 2 more. I've seen Spider-Man 2 more times than all the Fox Marvel movies put together. That's on you, Fox. You used to be better than that.
That's not Fox.
What? No, Spider-Man's Sony.
Yeah.
But I'm saying more than all the
okay.
Fox Marvel things, the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, all put together, I've seen Spider-Man 2 more times than that. So that just shows you Sony might actually have a better idea what they're doing, or they used to, than Fox does. But then again, but like I said, Fox used to have the rep of doing the really good stuff that people wanted. Fox, here, I got you a TCM backlot subscription, which you still haven't figured out how to use yet, have you? Because it's like a fanboy site for classic movie geeks, but you haven't figured it out, have you? Anyway.
No, I have.
Fox and Warner Brothers were the 2 populist studios in Hollywood, okay? MGM was all about musicals. They loved their musicals. Disney, of course, wasn't even really considered a major studio until you hit like the 60s or something, 50s or 60s. But they were kids. And then there was, Universal, which did the schlocky horror movies. And it was Paramount that did the prestige films, usually. And Columbia would do prestige films. Paramount wound up doing prestige films right until CBS Viacom took them over. But
I'm trying to get into the whole, like, offbeat heroes, as I like to call them, like Doom's Patrol. Awesome.
again, a Warner property. Go ahead and name off a few other quirky ones.
I'm falling deep. I have already fallen deeply in love with Umbrella Academy, which is actually kind of just like Doom Patrol, except less cussing.
I believe it's Dark Horse does that. Dark Horse is another studio another comic book publisher who got into studio production. They got started with The Mask, and it's just been off to the races ever since. But so to speak, not like Sunspot being cast, but
No, good lord.
Anyway, but yeah, it's, and there's another one coming from Image, and I can't remember what it was called. It'll come to me about 30 minutes after we stop recording. Probably on me taking you home from the production studio. But anyway, what were we saying? Quirky movies you were watching.
Oh,
anyway.
yeah. That one, yeah.
But anyway, Warner Brothers still has that rep to this day of doing the stuff people like that critics don't.
Yes.
And that's the way it's always been. Because even when it came to their cartoons, MGM had Tom and Jerry, they had Tex Avery, they had Hanna-Barbera, and they had all these guys. They were great technicians and stuff. And boy, they could do some nice slapstick. They had Disney, on the other hand, had all the draftsmen. They had the artists and stuff. They did the big shit. Then you had Warner Brothers, who just sat there and did the screwball humor and stuff. It's always been like that with these major Hollywood studios. So yeah, it's just one of the things. Fox used to have the reputation of being a populist one at first, and then they became a prestige studio, and then they just went to pot after they cashed in on Die Hard. So it's just been, I believe Fox did Die Hard. I believe. We'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll find out soon enough.
If Fox is smart, they would keep going with Deadpool.
Oh, well.
Because right now there's rumors that says that Disney doesn't actually want Deadpool to be part of anything. And
no,
like,
Disney doesn't
what
want
about
Deadpool.
Fox? It's like, what does Fox want?
Disney is... If Disney's smart, 20th Century Fox will handle their adult stuff.
Yes.
Disney will the Disney name will be on the family-friendly stuff.
Yes.
Okay? That's if they're smart. We're talking about Disney here, guys. Okay? We're talking about Disney. These are the guys who managed to F up Star Wars. Okay? 3 strikes, 3 outs. And they screwed up Star Wars. They screwed up the Muppets, for God's sake. How do you screw up the Muppets? Disney found a way. They screwed it up, and I have no idea where the Muppets are to this day.
Muppets Now is what it's called.
But
where they do Zoom shows.
Don't get me started on the Chinese tech again. Anyway.
Even though I got to admit, last episode of Disney Now, or not Disney Now, Muppets Now, was actually really hilarious.
They can be really good when they want to be.
Some good jokes in there.
That's the hard part, though. The Muppets have had such a family-friendly reputation for so long. Miss Piggy has to take those long gloves off, and then it gets interesting. But anyway.
I actually do love the Muppets, though. Either which way I can take them, good or bad.
So what else? You got anything else on the news front?
Sadly, no more news. There wasn't much.
I want to talk here for a second, okay? Because
I'm getting real.
We're going to do another. We're going to do Scott-tacular 3 coming up next week. Scott-tastic. Scott's on the Rocks, whatever we're going to call it. Scott's on the Rocks. What do we call it? That'll be next week. We'll be doing our 3rd episode from Scott's Comic Relief. For the past couple of weeks. Now, I didn't realize I had timed it this way, but I read the graphic novel Death of the Family, which is basically where the Joker takes out every supporting character in Batman, including Batman, and then serves Batman all their faces on top of a goulash or something. Oh, Oh, by the way, spoilers, but they get better. But anyway, they get better. So anyway, I compared that. This was part of the New 52 thing. I mean, this story is 10 years old, maybe? Somewhere between 5 and 10 years old. This is part of the DC's New 52. And DC just this past week came out with the 3 Jokers.
Yes.
Jeff Johns
is selling big
this.
right now.
I managed to get a copy. Poor old Scott. He was like, I only got 2 copies left. I don't know how he managed to keep 2 copies. But they both had Batman because everybody wanted the Joker ones. I don't give a crap what it's got on the cover as long as it's presentable and the story inside is the same. So I got the Batman one. And now remember, Jeff Johns is one of those guys that I absolutely adore. I'll read a matchbook cover if he writes it, right? So he comparing the 3 Jokers to Death of the Family. Now understand, Death of the Family is a book about yay thick. Yeah, it's got a couple hundred pages to it. I got it out there. I might let you look at it if you want. Now the 3 Jokers is a book about yay thick. Okay. The Jeff Johns, who's the artist on that? Fabog? Something Fabog. The Jeff Johns book, The 3 Jokers, this is only the first issue now, has more character development, more plot development, more coherent plot development, better handling of the characters, the interrelationship between the characters, the interrelationship with the antagonist, no less, and with the protagonist, Batman. All of this stuff, superior in every way. You get more of it in this one little first issue of the 3 Jokers than you got in the 300 pages of Death of the Family.
Damn.
Indeed.
So that's why it's selling out so good.
Because Jeff Johns knows how to tell a frickin' story. Now, he doesn't get it right every single time, but you know what? If you're swinging for the fences, you're going to miss a few pitches, but that's okay. Because I got to admit, the 3 Jokers, he knocked that one out of the park. I can't wait for the second issue.
Well, now, I should tell you that I didn't know nothing about it. That's why I didn't write it down. But when I was looking at some of the news articles, that popped up many times saying that the 3 Jokers are selling out fast.
That is a spectacular story. Have you had a chance to read it?
I have not. I didn't know nothing really about it. So.
I've got issue number 1. I will let you use it I'll let you read it as long as you promise not to get chocolate all over the damn cover. But anywho,
really,
the idea, the concept is spectacular. I love the fact that they're actually taking chances with these characters still after all the crap they took over the New 52. Okay? Now understand, there's more crap storm to come. Have you heard about Batwing?
Yeah.
How those issues are now selling for like $1,000 a piece in the back market now? Because Batwing is going to become the new Batman, supposedly. We'll see. That's what the speculators are saying. But they're taking chances. So how do you get the Joker going from being the cackling guy who puts smiles on fish to being the guy who puts a bullet into Barbara Gordon's spine to the guy who actually beats Jason Todd to death with a crowbar, smashing his skull in?
Yeah.
How do you reconcile these 3 guys? And the Joker who actually goes in and keeps raising hell with all the organized crime guys, okay? How do you reconcile all these? It's almost like there's 3 different guys. Oh my God, there's 3 different guys. That's Jeff Johns' epiphany. There's 3 different guys. I mean, this is pulling from stories going all the way back to like the 1966 camp version. The books that were published back then.
So there's always been speculation that there's been more than one Joker,
right.
But you're saying that there's literally just 3 guys all together
that are working together.
Not just like, oh, this one died and then somebody else took the...
Right. It's a franchise.
I mean, why didn't
Hold
you
on,
think
hold
of
on.
that before?
He says there's right there in the book. If you read Jeff John's script in the book, he points out there's three of them. There's a comedian, there's a clown, and there's a criminal. Okay, the comedian is the guy who puts the smile on the faces and stuff.
Yeah.
The clown is the guy that creeps people out and does the scary stuff. The criminal is the one who organizes shit. He's the Joker who has all his crap together.
What about the serial killer one?
The serial killer is the clown. That's the one you got to be afraid of. The comedian is the one, he's the performance artist. He's the one who does these grandiose gestures and go out with a smile and all this other stuff. The clown is the killer. And the criminal is the one, get this, who started the franchise. Remember Batman Incorporated? Remember that shit? Went worldwide, Bruce Wayne subterfuge and stuff sponsoring Batman all over the world, right? Yeah. Batman Incorporated. And the Joker beat him to it, apparently. He's been doing it for decades. Whenever a Joker dies, remember, Jokers die. They do die. They fall off the cliffs, they get dunked into acid, all this stuff. Well, he goes out and recruits another one. He goes out and finds somebody who fits the psychological profile he needs to fulfill a purpose. He needs remember, he's the criminal, and this guy looks, once you see this book, he's going to look like he's almost 80 or 90 years old. But he still colors his hair and stuff, apparently. But remember, Batman just celebrated what anniversary?
Is 75th or 80th?
80th anniversary. This Joker looks like he's 80. So, whenever one of the clowns or one of the comedians gets killed off, he recruits another one to take his place. And it's going to I think it's going to come out. They actually do the plastic surgery. They do the whole treatment. They've got it I bet it comes down to a science. Jeff John's going to blow people away if this is what I think it is. And I do have all the confidence in the world in it. This looks like the criminal Joker is the one who's in it for the money. And that's the scariest part of all, because all this crap the Joker does, the criminal one is there placing the bets in the right places on Wall Street to clean up.
Okay, here's a wild idea. Okay?
Yes.
Well, there is here. What if?
Yes.
Since he's so old.
Yeah.
Okay. What if the mastermind, the criminal Joker, what if that turns out to be Alfred? Just say. Or Commissioner Gordon.
I'll say this too. Okay, now we already know. Everybody knows Barbara Gordon's Batgirl.
Yeah.
No, most people don't realize there's a younger son. James has a younger son who is a psychopath. And apparently a rather decent criminal at it, too. Just think. Hold on. I've got 3 minds on this. Okay? The criminal is 80 years old. Criminal Joker is 80. We'll call him Emperor Joker, just for the fun of it. Okay? Emperor Joker. He's 80. He knows he's going to die at some point. These other 2 guys, they're in it for the jokes. They're in for the lulls, okay?
Yeah.
He's the Emperor Joker needs a successor. He needs somebody who is as clever as he is and as devious as he is and is as cold-blooded in order to keep the joke going, keep the franchise going. So, I can think of 3 people who will fit that. James Gordon Jr., Commissioner Gordon's son, which is probably the obvious plant, so I haven't seen enough of him to determine whether he could really fit. They could probably mold him into it. That would be the easy way out. Number 2, Jason Todd, the Red Hood.
Yeah.
So he's already taken over one of the old Joker personalities. But what if Emperor Joker is able to take Jason Todd aside and say, this is the guy who killed you, not me. I want you to take over what I do and keep Batman on the straight and narrow. And Jason Todd is just psychotic enough to do it. But there's one more, and if Jeff Johns does this, forget it. I'll just have to retire and just be his bitch from now on.
Who? What?
Damian Wayne.
So Robin the entire time.
Batman's biological son becomes the new Emperor Joker. Look, have you read some of the books that Damian Wayne is in?
No.
Okay, you need to read Damian Wayne. Okay, you go read some old Teen Titans and stuff that he's in. The Damian Wayne Robin is a nasty little piece of fudge. Okay, arrogant. He's been raised by Ra's al Ghul's little girl. Okay, his daughter Talia al Ghul is his mother. Okay, so Damian Wayne is the biological son of Bruce Batman Wayne and Talia al Ghul. So he was raised the first 8 years of his life with the League of Assassins. And his granddaddy, Ra's al Ghul. So yeah, he's got the sneer down, he's got the condescending attitude. The only weakness he has is Alfred. He absolutely adores Alfred because Alfred's the one who keeps putting up with his crap and then putting him in his place when he needs it. So he respects his dad, but he respects Alfred even more. Because Alfred does not put up with none of it. But Damian Wayne would be a superb new Joker. To become the Emperor Joker and continue to perpetuate the three Jokers. And the best part is, you only need 3 because each one has its own area of expertise of just wreaking havoc on everything.
That sounds interesting.
So I'm betting we're going to see one of those 3 step into the Emperor's place. Because I'm not going to spoil it, but let's just say by the end of the first issue, Jason Todd has taken his first steps.
See, I always thought, like...
So the 3 Jokers, buy it. Damn it. It's $7. It'll be the best $7 you've spent if you're any kind of comic fan or ever been a comic fan at all. Go ahead.
I always thought that, that's a cool concept. I never thought of it like that. I always thought that it would be cool to... Have you seen the movie called Split?
I've heard of it. I haven't had a chance to watch it.
Well, this guy has like 25 or some odd different personalities in it.
And each one has its own superpower.
I always
right?
thought, wouldn't that be cool for a Joker story?
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, he can walk among you and not know. But when he gets to that personality, he doesn't need surgery. It just literally forms and goes into this madness.
Mm-hmm. It's an awesome idea. But can you execute it well? That's the thing.
I think it can be by the right people. Because I've seen it done in some ways.
Now, you've paid more attention to the Doom Patrol show than I have. Okay, it seems like we're going off in different tangents.
Yeah, we are. This is what we do.
Doom Patrol. The Doom Patrol. Have they gotten to Calamity Jane yet?
Calamity Jane.
I think that was her name.
Which one was she?
Calamity Jane was the one who had multiple personalities, and each one had their own superpower.
Oh, yeah.
She predated Split by about 15 years.
Yeah.
So she's turned up. And it's one of those things, again, Doom Patrol is almost like a surreal superhero type of thing.
Have you watched any of Doom?
I have. I think I watched the first few episodes and gave up on it.
Well, that was that one girl's whole thing. Like, she had
That's what I thought. But it's been a while since I've seen it.
Throughout the first series and throughout the second series, a lot of it deals with inside her head, so you get to meet the different characters.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, instead of doing it a lazy way and having her play every character, everyone has a different, there's a African-American woman, there's an Indian woman, there's one dressed all in black, and one that,
different
bald
actresses, in other words.
Yeah, just a bunch of different, and, yeah, it's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, and again, psychological development and stuff, and that's one of those things, it requires talent to pull off, and that's something that's in short supply, apparently. because Jeff Johns pulled it off the plum with 3 Jokers. I brought it back, and oh God, Grant Morrison was the one responsible for the Doom Patrol you're seeing. It's largely based on his Dadaist humor,
Man.
and it is nobody can write like Grant Morrison can. The main thing I'm waiting for, and the only guy who could possibly go beyond what Grant Morrison did with Doom Patrol, would be Neil Gaiman with the Sandman series. Which, now they've been trying to talk Neil Gaiman into doing this for years. They've wanted him to develop this. They've been wanting him to get into this because the books themselves are almost considered proper literature now. They've actually escaped the comic book thing, and they're considered graphic literature.
Have you seen the new thing on Sandman? There's an actual audio book.
Yeah, I've heard of the audiobook.
Yeah, and I believe that they are making a movie or something.
To be honest, I could see why Neil Gaiman, I believe Neil Gaiman was actually directly involved with the audio book they did, because just like with old-time radio shows like The Shadow and all these other things, it requires more of your imagination, and a lot of Sandman is based on imagination, creativity, mental.
And there's a lot of famous people supposedly doing voices in this. So
oh, absolutely.
They got a lot of people. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, Neil Gaiman is one of those guys who crossed over from comic books into proper pop culture. Actually, I wouldn't even consider Neil Gaiman pop culture. Like I said, Neil Gaiman is now considered literature. The Sandman comic book is considered the most literate book by any major publisher anyway on the stands. But, so, to see Neil Gaiman involved in bringing Sandman, expanding the concepts and stuff into other media, that's a very, very good thing. So it's Neil Gaiman, Grant Morrison, and who's the other one I'm thinking of? Not the one who's doing Superman right now. He's currently screwing up Legion's superheroes. Can't think of his name. But
no, if you go down to Scott's...
Mental block.
If you go down to Scott's Comics, he will help you out with anything that you need to know or get you anything that you need. I ended up going down there the same day that you did because I just missed you.
Yeah, I believe you.
And went in there, and he tried to get me. He actually gave me one episode, issue 1 of it, of the Ice Cream Man or the Ice.
Oh yeah, the Ice Cream Man. Yeah.
And I can't wait to read this one, but there's one where it's Dr. Seuss, but horror Dr. Seuss, and it's like, this is brilliant.
I haven't had a chance to try any of the Ice Cream Man books yet, but I've heard they are, they're not for kids.
It's kind of like, he said that was like Tales from the Crypt or something kind of way.
It's kind of...
Or Twilight Zone, he said.
Kind of an eldritch kind of spin on things. But
so, I can't wait to dig into that.
As much as you've been digging Lovecraft Country, which is all about eldritch horror and stuff, it's taking... And I've got to check it out, I really do. From what I'm reading and seeing of it so far, it takes black culture, okay, the background stuff, the old traditions and stuff, merging it with eldritch horror of H.P. Lovecraft and bringing it into the 21st century, which is heavy lifting, like on a Herculean level.
Like, I don't even know, like, I couldn't talk to nobody about this because so far from what I've seen, my mind is just still melting from what I just saw. Like, it's so...
That's what eldritch horror does. It kind of like blows your mind a little.
Yeah, I mean, you're just sitting there like...
It's like watching an old Universal monster movie, but for intellectuals. Yes. If that makes any sense. I am hoping, and DC, out of all of them, is the one most likely to do it, because Warner, if they can keep AT&T out of the way, Warner's the one most likely to do it. I'm still hoping and especially with Resurrection Milestone coming up 2021, I'm hoping they will get Bayou off the ground. And at least even if they don't do a media push like a television show, a cartoon, a movie of it, even if they don't do that, and it's not for kids either, if they do it just to do a third book to close the story, because the story never ended.
You're gonna have to look into that, because I can't remember exactly everything that they said, but I do know it was part of DC fandom, and it was like a half hour with creators Mark Bernard and Jim Lee, and they were discussing about all these projects that will be developed, and it will all be ready for February next year. So, and it sounds very freaking interesting.
Well, considering, I believe they would have it ready by February because they've been working on it since 2018. There's been legal issues involved regarding, I believe, the widow McDuffie. So, Dwayne McDuffie's widow, I believe, because Dwayne McDuffie's been fighting DC for years over the Milestone residuals. He always claimed they always screwed him over on the residuals and the payments and stuff. So, it sounds to me like DC has settled it. So, good for them. Good for the McDuffie family, and good for the men and women of Milestone. So, to get them back out there, and please bring Zombie back. What an awesome concept that was. I've told you about Zombie.
Yes.
With an X, not a Z, an X.
An X.
Have I talked about that on the show? Because
you did.
I think I have. But
that's how I found out about it.
Just to remind you, Zombie was a technological cannibal. It was this guy. He injected nanobots in himself and somehow managed to get himself severely injured. He wakes up. He's dead, but he comes back to life and realizes that the nanobots had to take building blocks from around him, and the nearest building block near him was his research assistant. So the nanobots ate half of her in order to bring him back to life and make him whole, which is an awesome concept in so many ways. And then they go into the Doom Patrol level surreal stuff, where he takes on intelligent window panes and scissor men and all kinds of stuff. It's awesome stuff.
I just watched yesterday. I watched a short horror zombie thing, and it was hilarious. Zombie outbreak and everything. So everybody's a zombie walking around, but there's this guy who does he's like what do they call them? They stand still. The human statues or whatever.
The weeping angels. Yeah.
He's all painted in gold. He has his cane, hat, and everything. And he's standing still, and the zombies don't know him. So it's all about him just trying to stand still while all this crazy stuff is happening around him, and then he finally, creeps away slowly. It is hilarious. Still got my Bill and Ted thing to talk about.
Yeah, let's
you
talk
want to
about
do
your
a
Bill
second
and Ted
thing?
3. Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about your Bill and Ted thing. Bill and Ted 3. Was it worth it?
Okay, so Bill and
He's seen
Ted,
it, not me.
Friday, Bill and Ted Face the Music came out, and of course I had to see it.
Not at 10th frame, though, was it?
No, I don't know why. Apparently, it's only showing from what I've read, it's only showing on drive-ins. I don't know for some reason, but anyways, Bill and Ted Face the Music. This is one of those things that made no sense at all. For some reason, I love it. I cannot explain. This makes no sense of why I love this movie. Because, for one, this movie has plot holes, and more plot holes, and they don't address it. It's there for everybody to see. It's like in your face plot hole. So I don't know how this works, but I still enjoyed myself. Now, let's take it that, the first two Bill and Ted movies, yeah, there was plot holes, but like maybe one. And not to mention, they had a story to tell. This one, by God, no, they just threw every logic that there was out the window. Like, seriously.
Mm-mm.
So, basically, here's Bill and Ted, years later. They still have to write that song to save the world. Okay, they got 2 grown daughters. Their marriage is a little iffy. So anyway, the future comes and says, hey, we want you to write the song because in about an hour, the world ends. And they're like, oh, oops, we kind of forgot. So they decide the idea of going to the future to get the song to take back and sing. Alright? So that was the whole idea. Here's where the plot holes start coming in. Okay? 1, the future decides, even though they know that it's Bill and Ted are the only ones that can save the world, the future decides for some odd reason to send a robot who tries to be so likable, but good Lord, he is annoying and he's a waste of space. They send a robot to kill Bill and Ted. You tell me where that logic is, right? Okay.
Keeps them motivated.
I guess. So, they go like about 30 minutes in, and their future 30 minutes, Bill and Ted, don't have the music yet. Okay, so they go further into the future. Again, they don't have the music, and they keep running away from their past selves. So you get the whole interaction of cat and mouse game between Bill and Ted and the Bill and Ted in the future. So, trying to avoid each other, okay? Plot hole, they keep going until they're like 30, 60 years into the future when the world was supposed to end like an hour ago. Like, how in the hell is there still a future if the world ended? Plot hole. Plus, another plot hole, everybody in this movie, apparently if you die, you go straight to hell. That was the problem I had with the second film. When Bill and Ted got killed, they go to hell. Like, really?
They get better, apparently.
So apparently everybody that dies go to hell. Now the daughters decide to help their dads by going and picking out famous musicians throughout time. So they get Mozart, they get Hendrix, they get, I want to say Crosby, or, the trumpet, what's his name? I can't remember, jazz musician.
Yeah.
And then for another plot hole, they decide to go to the prehistoric ages and pick up this cave woman that is banging the turtle drums. They grab her, even though they don't even talk about this at all. But it's like, who the heck is she? Because in our history, was there ever a cave woman that played the drums? No. But somehow they knew about her, so they went and got her. Plot hole. Who was also another wasteful character. They didn't do nothing with her. Okay? So, anyways, they also run into a pop star, R&B star, I don't know who the hell he is. I've heard of him. Kid Cudi, who apparently is smarter than Albert Einstein himself, because everything he says, you don't understand. Because he's talking about time travel. And you got everybody, Bill and Ted, also come to him and ask him about, how can we do this? How can we do that? And he tells them, and they're all like, what? And they go and do whatever anyways. So, I don't know why Kid Cudi's in this movie, period. Which also, not plot hole, Kid Cudi at the end disappears and reappears. It's a blink of an eye. Okay? It happens with a blink of an eye. But it turns out that he is somebody that you're like, what? He's not actually Kid Cudi. He's somebody way more important. Just saying. Blink of an eye, you'll miss it. But it happens.
Holy cow, he's George Carlin?
Wouldn't that be something? But anyway. So, yeah, the best part about this movie is that it was really great to see Bill and Ted back. And even though nothing made sense, it was so much fun. For some odd reason, it was so much fun. And Death, by God, Death shows up, and you have about 15 minutes with Death, and it is the best part of the movie. Literally. And then he does nothing after that. So that was a waste. So anyways, even though this movie has so many damn plot holes, makes no sense, and it takes everything that is logic and throws it out of the window, for some reason I deeply enjoyed this movie. I have fun with this movie. Which is weird. It is weird. It shouldn't be like that. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. Let me ask you one question when it comes to Bill and Ted Face the Music. Bill and Ted.
Yes.
Do you have Keanu Reeves in it having fun?
Yes.
There you go. That's all you need. That's your
Alex
blockbuster
Winter's
right there.
back. He's having fun.
Since when has any of the Bill and Ted movies made any damn sense whatsoever?
Yes, but there was okay. The first one they had to pass their school exam. So they got everybody in history to help. The second one was they had to write a song, and some evil douchebag in the future decides to come back and make evil robots of themselves, of Bill and Ted, and have them kill the real Bill and Ted. Even though it sounds crazy, there was still a plot story. This one, like I said, all of them had plot holes, but this one had so many, and they didn't address none of them. It's just, it's there. It's like, really?
Yeah, it's Keanu Reeves having fun, right? Keanu Reeves,
Yes.
Alex Winter, everybody's having fun. It's a
It was
goofball
fun
picture.
movie.
Listen, if you ever get a chance to watch Ocean's 11, the original one with Frank Sinatra and all the guys in it and stuff, okay?
Yes.
Go watch it. There's no plot. There's an idea. We're gonna knock over X, right?
Really?
That's it. That's it. It's a chance for a bunch of guys to get back together who had fun before. They're getting back together. They're going to get drunk. They're going to get high, and they're going to make another movie and have some more fun at it. Which is what you always wanted to do. Which is why you find it so appealing.
I guess.
You always want to get drunk, high, and make a movie somewhere.
No, what?
Yes. Yes. It's been your life's mission. You have
not.
waited to get.
I've always wanted to make a movie, but where does the high and drunk part come in?
Oh no, wait. That's just you without the movie. The movie you still got to make. But anyway, you got anything else to put on top of that, buddy? Buddy Rowe.
Well, I guess
Buddy?
I have to give this movie a rating.
If you must, you give it a rating. I'll give it a rating. Go ahead, give it a rating.
You haven't even seen the movie.
I don't have to see the movie to give
I
it
just
a rating.
told you everything. Huh? Okay.
I don't have to see the movie to give it a rating.
So yeah, I mean, if it was a score from 1 to 5, I would give it a 3. I would give it a 3.
You give it a 3.
Yes.
As a wise man once said, flayed is a plate of piss. Here, I'll give you the real rating for...
Oh boy. What's this?
Rock on.
Party on, dude.
Party on! Yeah, that's different. That's different than all the other. Although, if those two ever get together, Wayne's World. Oh,
Wayne's
God.
World. Party time.
That'd be a crossover for the ages right there. Let's wrap this. Let's get on out of here. We got lives to lead. So, allegedly. But anyway, until next time, I'm Spike.
I'm Chris.
That is Chris. This was the show. Next week we'll be coming to you from Scott's Comic Relief in 420 East Main Street, Sweetie, because if you're talking 420s, you're talking Sweeties. Coming up next Saturday, August 30th, about 1-ish, we'll be down there recording. And if anybody wants to actually come down and actually show up, think again, because we ain't got room in there, especially with the Rona going on.
Well, I'll be found out.
They ain't enough Lysol in the world for our fan base. But anyway, all three of them. Well, speaking of three of them, our podcasts are still going out there.
Yeah.
You can, wherever you steal your podcasts, look for Spike and Chris, and you'll find me out there. Or look for Who, What, Where, WHOWOTWARE. Easier look for Spike and Chris. Anyway, we now have 3 listeners. Alright. Since we started the podcast with Anchor FM, it's been what, 6 months, 8, 9 months, a year or something like that. We were at 37 cents for a long time. Our monetization now, 42 cents.
You know, I actually had an idea. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so I can. This is what I picture.
Spike and Chris overtime. Go ahead.
Us sitting behind a desk. We would have microphones, whether they're plugged in or not. They would look good. Professionalism.
In other words, like everybody else on YouTube, yeah.
We would shoot ourselves, of course, but I would also have one from Facebook, and we would go Facebook Live and answer questions as well as we talk through the news and rumble and dumble. And then that would go to Facebook, YouTube, podcasting, all that bunch of shit.
Shoot him now. Shoot him now. You can stay out of this. He doesn't have to shoot you now. I say he does have to shoot me now, so shoot me now. See you next time, Happy Campers. Somewhere down the road. We'll see y'all.
Donald Trump don't trust China. China is asshole.